Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again with my co-commentator, as always, Mansell. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Tim. We are here again for GP2, Spain, round 6. Spain, difficult track to overtake, of course. Qualifying is probably going to be one of the most important qualifying sessions this season. So yeah, let's see how these guys get on today in qualifying.
Yeah, of course, Spain is notorious for being a track that is not exactly the most easy place to pass around. Of course, I feel like that could really be said for most tracks at the Formula One, on the Formula One circuit, sadly enough. But such is life sometimes, as we see a few drivers just now going out to start their outlap. Odd Ivan being the first man to blink out there. Now, it's looking like it's a little bit smoggy, a little bit of an overcast today. Wondering if maybe we're going to see some rain in the forecast for our qualifying.
If you see on the track map already, Tim, you've got at least 10 cars already coming out on track, so maybe expecting some rain at the end of this qualifying session by the looks of things, if we haven't these many drivers coming on to the pits straight away. But yeah, potential rain at the end.
And of course, as they say, the early worm gets the bird, so that's how it's going to have to be for these guys. If you're out there quickly before the rain comes, then it means that you're going to be able to have at least a chance of starting on the pole. But if you are late and it rains, then you can just kiss your pole position goodbye.
Yeah, exactly that. You're going to lose about at least 7 seconds between dry and wet conditions. Obviously, in wet conditions, you don't get as much traction as you would in the dry. But Odd Ivan is about to start his lap now, so yeah, let's see how it gets on.
So we're right on board with Odd Ivan here to take a nice little look around this circuit. There's the first DRS zone, or well, technically the last DRS zone down the pit straightaway, and this is when you're going to see a lot of the overtakes being made down this very long pit straight into turn 1, but it's going to be a very dicey turn 1. You can use a little bit of curve there, as you saw Odd Ivan do, and you can use some curve in turn 2 through the left-hander, but too much, and you'll get the car out from underneath you and spin around. Of course, you saw him avoid the curve through the uphill right-hander. That's because if you touch it, then you will definitely have that car come out from underneath you and spin around, and then you want to hug that curve through that turn 4. And now here's a very tricky section. It's a downhill braking section, so you have to really hug that inside line and brake a little bit early, backing up that corner to try to get the best exit. And then now through sector 2, this is a very tricky section as well, and the uphill right-hander turn 8, I believe, if I've done my math correctly. And you saw there, he clipped the curve a little bit, had to correct the car, so that's a place that you might see some spins today. Of course, another DRS zone right there down that straightaway. And he breaks about the 100-meter mark and really hugs that curve, practically a hairpin. Actually, it is a hairpin, but sometimes it's a little bit misleading entering that corner, and you think you can go wider than you actually can. And, of course, the worst part of this track is this final chicane. It is practically impossible to get right, but so satisfying when you do. Through the final corner and through the DRS zone, crossing the line, Odd Ivan, a 1:16.493.
Yep. Pretty decent lap from Odd Ivan, and as Morris goes behind him, and 67 in the KX side to Jonas, going up to second championship leader at the moment, joint with, I think, Train Game Well. They're both on 66 points at the moment, so they're very close at this stage in the championship right now. What's the game in medium tyres, 17.8 from him, KX side going up to 4th, and then Morris to 3rd to Jonas second, and then Odd Ivan, of course, in the first position spot as Son of Furbar goes up to 5th with the medium tyres once again. Obviously, he has won the last 2 races, so he's in very good form at the moment. Let's see if his good form continues for him today. And we actually have 3 new full-time drivers that has just been released of. Rogue Smithy in the Ferrari. He is now full-time in the Ferrari. We've got Mauser taking my old seat in the Haas, teaming up with Morris, of course, and then also the last one, I can't remember who it was. I got to double check who it was. It was Son of Furbar, of course, in the McLaren. And then, of course, the only 2 people over reserving tonight is Senna Martins and Martin.
So always welcoming to our new drivers. Of course, Rogue Smithy, an old new driver, or a new old driver, and not exactly sure how to put that, because of course he was originally full-time GP2, but due to personal commitments was thinking he could not commit to a full season, Apparently those have changed, so good to have him back in the Ferrari. As we watch Mauser, of course, he's already set a lap time, a 1:16.934 in that Haas machine. So now you can just see him booking it, trying to get back to the pits and maybe go out for another lap. Still not sure if we're expecting rain or not, but we'll take a look at X-Gamer. X-Gamer, a driver who so far has had possibly the season of his life with SFR. Taking a look at the point standings, of course, X-Gamer is in the 6th position, but that's just because he has 2 DNSs and 1 DNF, but he won Portugal, and he got a podium in Canada. So if he had started those 2 races that he missed, then he might even have more points on the board than he does at the moment, but in P6 with 40 points after an unfortunate DNF in Imola. Of course, in TNR to Jonas in 1st place with 66 points, tied with Train Game Wow, so already a very close points battle early on in just round 6. So X-Gamer just now in the 3rd and final sector. We'll see what happens.
I'm also going to let you know, Tim, you haven't got your time delta. There's 2 people in the comments saying it. They need the lap delta, apparently. 3 people in the comments saying lap delta.
And X-Gamer 1:16.359 goes to the pole. And something's happened with Martin. Martin is out of the session, unfortunately, so he will start at the very end of the field as we take a look at Crowhawk in the Mercedes.
Yeah, it looks like Martin's retired in the pits. Of course, he's a full-time GP2 driver. Not GP2, GP3 driver, sorry. So he'll be starting from the back, see what he can do. Crowhawk has him validated. He is on the lap. Senna is on the lap.
Oh, and Crowhawk, he's just retired from the session, so yes, I missed it. He actually crashed out. Was taking a look at our comments there for just a moment while he crashed out, so unfortunately I did miss that big moment there. But taking a look now.
Oh, that's another driver gone off at the same time. Who's that? Oh, that was Calvin. But he's just, I don't know what he was doing there. Maybe he made a mistake as well. He's got gravel on his tyres, so he might have done the same thing as Crowhawk has done.
So Rogue Smithy in the 2nd sector now, Purple in the 1st sector, so we might see a good lap from the Ferrari driver here. Right on board with him, see just what he's doing. The magic behind the wheel there. 2nd gear through that corner, a little bit of tire lockup you could hear, just the tires screeching. But if it gets him through the corner, then that's all that really matters. Really abusing those curves, using every bit of the racetrack that is allotted to him, and maybe even some that's not. Oh, the McLaren gets in the way! Oh my goodness! And Rogue Smithy invalidated. That was just unfortunate for Rogue Smithy.
Yeah, that's not what you want. Is a driver blocking you. I've done that before. I have blocked someone before. I think you saw it in Canada where I've done that. I'm probably banned for that. Yeah, not a great thing to do, to be fair.
Well, it's potential that Son of Fubar could face some repercussions from that. Of course, not that it was necessarily intentional. It is very easy to do. It's hard sometimes to look at your map and know when someone's coming, and you really can't have any spotter to tell you if someone's on a lap, which really puts you at a disadvantage. But nonetheless, it is possible Son of Fubar will suffer some repercussions from that.
Morris,
but that's not our choice to make.
Morris is on the lap. He's a 10th up on his sector 1 time, or nearly losing it through turn 8, but he's all okay for now. We'll see what his sector 2 time is going to be. He's only 3/10 up. So around about Odevine's time at the moment, if he can master sector 3. Of course, sector 3 is the hardest part of the track. Slowest sector ran the hardest sector as well. So through the final chicane comes Morris, early as he can on the power, through the final corner. DRS is now open and see what he goes. Goes up for 2nd with a 64, 10th X-Gamer.
Taking a look at TNR Frederick now on the Aston Martin as he crosses the line to start his first flying lap. Just over 8.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session, and it's actually looking like it's starting to dry up. Or not, instead of dry up, but clear up rather, and be nice and shiny and bright out there. So maybe there was no rain in the forecast, and the fact that there were 10 or more drivers.
Bossy Gaming's done the exact same thing as Crowhawk, but on the other side of the track instead. So turn 8, there's 2 drivers now already out of this qualifying session in the same corner. That's unfortunate for them too.
in Bossy Gaming, he really just has no luck. It's been a season to forget already for him, for sure. In fact, taking a look at our point standings here in just a moment, I'll be able to update you where he is, but I'm willing to wager it's really not that great. Of course, earlier on in the season, I mention this every week just because it's fun at this point, but he did have some cat issues, and now it just seems like he has some staying on the track issues.
Yeah, so Bossy Gaming has set a lap time, so he won't be starting dead last as like Martin would be. So we will still have at least a decent grid position for now as Yeast improves on his lap time, goes up to P5. They're 16.5. Good luck there from Yeast.
So taking a look at Eric's Mamba now in the Red Bull, a 117.038 is his best lap time so far as Odd Ivan goes to pole, a 116.032. We'll see what Mamba's able to do. He's going to pretty much have to gain a little more than a second if he's going to set on the pole here in that Red Bull. Of course, Mamba and his teammate of Yeast seem to work very well together. Yeast in 5th, a 116.556 at the moment, but both of them really need a good day coming to them. It just seems that something always seems to happen that hinders them from achieving the performances that we know they're capable of.
Yeah, so Mamba now comes through the final corner. 17.0 is the current lap time, and he will improve by 6/10 and put himself up to P3. So a very good lap there from Mamba, the current GP3 champion. Now moves himself up to P3. So good luck there from him. As to Jonas, he has invalidated. Time go Prof. Maybe just starting his lap now. We've got Calvin, who's just started a lap. And also in the comments, he also says that it's his first race without any traction control or ABS. Well, they turned them off for this race anyway. So let's see if he can improve on his lap. 17.8 is his current lap time.
So Calvin making a big step up there, and we'll see if it's going to be able to help him. I personally run without assist except for the racing line, so I'm not sure what it's like to go from from ABS and traction control to just nothing at all, but I would imagine that it is a definite far cry from what he's used to, but maybe it works for him. Maybe it just suits his driving style a little bit better. I guess today will be a bit of a guinea pig to find out if in fact it does, but so far he at least looks to be okay around the track. Of course, we'll see what kind of lap time he's able to lay down. His best time so far, a 117.861. Oh, he goes a little bit wide there, so this probably won't be the best of laps for him. But as he crosses the line, we see him go to P11. Not bad, a 117.032.
Yep, so P11. I think P11 is definitely the kind of grid position you want to be starting. You do not want to be touching the softs at all in this race. They only last about 6 laps. 6 to 8 laps last round here, so medium hards is the way to go in the race strategy today. But my experience being on hards yesterday, I did not enjoy them one bit. I was not confident on them at all. Maybe it was setup wise or something like that, but let's see if these guys can be any better on the hard tyres than me. What's going on with the 2 Ferraris?
Well, Rogue Smithy has invalidated his flying lap. Looks like X Gamer's about to start his flying lap. KXI starting his lap now. His best lap.
Oh, Rogue Smithy is just crashing in the pits. He's just hit the wall in the inside wall, and he's out of qualifying. He's gone too fast through that corner in the pits, and he's hit the wall, and now he's out.
So 3 drivers already going to have a lot of recovery to do in the race. Actually, 4 drivers when you count Bossy Gaming. However, he was able to set a lap time, so maybe he won't start as far back as the other 3. But at the moment, there's only 2 drivers who have yet to set a time that are still running with an intact car. KXI, of course, he is trying to set a better lap time than what he's got in that AlphaTauri. So we'll see if he's able to do that. Of course, Train Game Wow, one of our...
Train Game Wow is on the lap now. He's about to cross the line, and he goes up to P8. 69 on the medium tyres, so a good lap there, especially on the medium tyres as well. Yeah, he'll be in a really good position if he can stay inside the top 10 on the medium tyres as well, so yeah, let's see if anyone improves and goes ahead of him. Okay, Excite in P11 at the moment is actually invalidated. He was improving, but he's actually invalidated.
And I personally think that that's a deadly combination there with Train Game WoW and those medium tires running in at the moment. P8, as you see X Gamer aborting his lap and going into the pits. Say just about 2.5 minutes remaining left in this qualifying session, so it's starting to get down to the nitty-gritty, and you know, I really think the Train Game WoW might have a good shot at this. I might have to start making my early picks here.
As I think the only person on the lap at the moment is actually Morris again. He's half a tenth up on his Sector 2 time. He's hardly got any ERS left at this stage, but of course we won't really need ERS only really at this point. But let's see if he improves. Does he improve? Yes, he does. By about 1.5 tenths. Goes up to P3. So he'll be happy with that, especially the way his performance is going this stage. It's definitely going to be also a season to forget for him. Yeah, so let's see if we can have a better start now, as now everyone is starting to come out of the pits now. Train of cars coming out of the pits.
Watching Yeast at the moment as he's on a flying lap. His best lap time, a 1:16.556. We'll see if he's able to improve on that, though. A little bit of communication issue there with his car, as you can see, so hopefully he can get that worked out before the race. That's definitely going to be frustrating, not just for him, but for the competitors, as he has invalidated his lap. So that's something that's going to be frustrating for him as well, as we'll go ahead and take a look at Calvin now in the Mercedes. And just ahead of him, looks like Son of Fubar there in the McLaren. So that Calvin gets by him. Of course, none of these drivers on a flying lap just yet.
Mamba's on a lap though. He's just started a lap. He's about half tenth up on his Sector 1 time. So you can have a look at him if you want.
So Mamba P5 at the moment with a 1:16.365. His teammate, of course, Yeast invalidating his lap just a moment ago. He's got a 1:16.556. The times are very close, and that's what we've really been accustomed to in GP2 this season. If you look from first to 10th place, it appears as though it's about a second or so. It's separating them. Just the top 10 is only within 1 second, which is very close, and we've had them even closer in other races this season.
Yeah, we have, of course, normally between first and let's say 15th are normally in about a second of each other, and yet again it is about that. First and 15th is about 1.1 seconds between the times. As Mamba goes pole with 59, it's a good lap there from Mamba.
It's an incredible lap from Mamba, but does Odd Ivan have anything for him in that AlphaTauri? Odd Ivan in the third and final sector now, and he was just a little bit faster in the second sector over his best time, so we'll see if he's able to continue that and keep the momentum up for the remainder of the lap. It's going to be very difficult, but I'm starting to think that maybe Odd Ivan has got something hooked up around here. But Mamba, I think that he does as well. So Odd Ivan through the final corner, very careful not to invalidate, keeps it off the curb, down the straightaway, crosses the line, and he will go to pole, 1:15.898. So qualifying is over. These drivers are on their final lap. Son of Fubar, of course, as you mentioned, Mansell, he's won the last few races. He is very fast. That is of no...
So far, I've been on board with him, and he hasn't he's not improving on his Sector 1 times, and he is improving now on his Sector 2 time, but at the moment it's still not going to be enough for pole. He's about 1.1 seconds off on Divine's time, so he needs I don't know how he's going to find at least a second, 9 tenths at least, in Sector 3. I think he did set his time on the medium tyres for his first lap. Here comes Son of Fubar now, through the final corner. Of course, one of the last 2 races, where does this lap put him? It puts him to P7. The 16.5. As X Gamer crosses the line and he goes P6, and that is qualifying him. Actually, yes, it is. Jonas is not improving.
And of course, to Jonas and Train Game WoW tied in points going into this race. So here's your official points standings with the Jonas and Train Game WoW, 66 points apiece. Tom Goproff in third with 56 points. Son of Fubar in fourth with 51 points. And then Langfell in 5th with 46 points. Of course, we mentioned X Gamer with 40 points. Bossy Gaming, I told you I'd give an update on him. He is down in the 10th position with 19 points. Our constructor standings, though, also a very close battle so far, with Alpine with 2 wins having 95 points total, and McLaren having 91 in 2nd place. But here's your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Spanish Grand Prix. On Ivan on the pole with Mamba in 2nd, Langfell in 3rd, Tom Goproff in 4th, Morris in 5th, X Gamer in 6th, 7th is Son of Fubar, Frederick in 8th, 9th is Jonas, Yeast in 10th, 11th is Mauser, Cinemartins in 12th, 13th is Train Game Wow, KXI in 14th, 15th is Calvin Racing, Bossy Gaming in 16th, Pim in 17th, and Rogue Smithy in the 18th position with Crowhawk in 19th, and Martin in the 20th position. So it looks like Alpine of Martin is going to have a long, long way to the front if they're going to keep their standing in the constructors after today. Of course, DeJonas starting there in P9 as well.
So, looking at Train Game Well's time, obviously he's outside the top 10, but he has only set a lap time on the medium tyres, so I think he already knows that he does not want to touch those soft tyres at all, because they will go off pretty much instantly. So he knows what the try strategy is pretty much is around here. Always listening to us and heard what I'm saying. But yeah, you just don't want to touch the softs around here at all. It's going to go off pretty much instantly. I think it's like lap 4 to lap 8. That's probably a time to pick to go on to different tyres. But yeah, of course, safety cars will. We might see some safety cars today. I think we've seen a couple from the last couple of days in the other divisions. But yeah, let's see what happens.
So, of course, it is time for our predictions, both myself, Mansell, and the chat. And in any order, I'm going to go with Train Game Wow, Odd Ivan, and Mamba for my top 3. And also, I never gave the answer for the trivia question last week and what it was. Actually, Mad G got it right, so congratulations to him. But what the question was what driver won the final San Marino Grand Prix around Imola, and how many times had he won the event? It was Michael Schumacher, and it was 7 times. Now, here's the trivia question for this week. This track here in Spain, in Barcelona, is very famous, and there's one moment that may stand out in recent memory to Formula One fans, that being the battle between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, where they made contact and ultimately crashed. Off track, day done for both of them. But who won that race?
I already know the answer to, but of course I'm not going to say it, otherwise that's just going to ruin the whole thing. Yeah, my predictions are it's got to be Son of Furbar, one of them, any order, Son of Furbar, just because of the form he's on at the moment, and then Mamba and also X Gamer is going to be the top 3. In any order, of course. Yeah, so tyre strategy as well. There's 2 people outside the top 10 actually starting on the softs, and KXI and Road Smithy. So they're definitely going to have to do a 2-stop. Soft, medium, medium. Maybe they just don't want to touch the hards whatsoever. Like me, I hate touching the hard tyres. So maybe that's because why they're on the soft tyres. And then, of course, the only person on the hard tyres is, of course, Pim. And then pretty much everyone else outside the top 10. Apart from the KXI, Pim, and Road Smithy are starting on the medium tyres.
And I can certainly sympathize with that, Mansell, is the hard tires sometimes are abysmal. But you mentioned Pim starting on the hard tires. That is Psychomich things coming from P17. Let's see if it's going to work out for him today.
Yeah, someone has unfortunately spun on the safety car, and guess who it is? It's Pim on the hard tires.
That was not Psychomich things. We miss Psychomich. We really do. We wish him well wherever he is at the moment. But the drivers just now finding their appropriate positions on the grid, so it's just about time to go racing 33 laps around the circuit for the Spanish Grand Prix, just waiting for those final 2 cars at the back, and then we will be ready to go. The anxiety is kicking in. I'd say these drivers just want to go, and they want to go now. Odd Ivan going to be leading them off. Eric's Mamba and Langfell, your top 3. Let's see who gets the better start. And I think it's just about time to go. You hear those engines revving. You hear those itchy pedal feet drivers watching the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Spanish Grand Prix, and a lot of drive-through penalties for a jump start, but Odd Ivan gets a fantastic start, and they race down to turn number 1, almost 3 wide. It is 3 wide back there for the 4th position. There's a Haas in the middle, but he somehow gets away. Maybe. Is Morris. Does he actually pull away? Yes, he does. Well, he pulls away a little bit anyway. He avoids an absolute catastrophe through turn number 1 as we now ride on board with that Haas machine as he gives chase to the Red Bull ahead of him. That is Eric's Mamba, who lost a couple of positions on the start. Odd Ivan, Langfell, and Tom Goprop, your top 3 after just a few corners, but still more fighting for position just behind them. X-Gamer in the Ferrari having a big battle there with the McLaren of Son of Fubar, now trying to find his way around the Haas of Morris. Meanwhile, behind Son of Fubar, your points leader up to Jonas, just trying to hang on and survive, with Yeast in the Red Bull following closely behind. TNR Frederick in P10 at the moment, but look at how close Yeast is to Jonas. He is just not going to take no for an answer. He's going to make sure that he sticks with Jonas, and as soon as that DRS is active, he's going to find a way around him. You just mark my words, that will happen. He's too determined, I believe, to take no for an answer today. Just behind him, a little bit more jostling around for position. Looks like Train Game Wow, who does have to serve a penalty due to a jump start, is trying to get around the Aston Martin of Frederick, but when will Train Game Wow dive in for that penalty?
I would do it straight away, just because safety cars are a very likely thing to do, and he's doing the exact same thing. He is coming into the pits just like I did when I ran that drive-through penalty yesterday as well. And into the pits for the Train Game. Well, that's not what he wants, of course. He's currently 2nd in the championship. Now he's got to serve this drive-through. Pretty much that's his race over and done with, unless the safety guy does come out, of course. As Morris has also got past Mamba, Morris is up to P4.
Looks like Bossy Gaming, St. Martin's, Rogue, Smithy, and Train Game Wow, those 4 drivers making a pit stop on the very first lap. So they're going to have a lot of catching up to do with the back course. Train Game Wow having to serve a time penalty. There was one other driver who needed to serve that time penalty as well. So a lot of jump starts today to start off the Spanish Grand Prix. Lap 2 of 33. DRS will be active this time, but it's not going to benefit Langfell at all, because Odd Ivan is already 1.2 seconds ahead. Make that 1.3 for a brief moment. But Tom Goprop, he might be looking to take advantage of some DRS as soon as it's active, because he is right on the gearbox of Langfell, and he is just waiting for any advantage in his favor to get around that green Aston Martin.
That was close for Langfell. Good save there from Langfell. Nearly lost it there. I don't actually know what turn 11 I think that was. And he lost, but that of course gives Tom get closer to Langfell, and this might give Tom now the chance. Of course, DRS not enabled just yet. It should be right now, as DRS should now be enabled. But of course, the DRS detection zone is on lap 2 of that lap, so he wouldn't get it, of course. But now, later on, he will get the DRS, and it will definitely help him to overtake Langfell now, as you can see, Odd Ivan is now pulling away 1.7 is the gap. So Langfell does seem to be struggling, as there's quite a train behind him. Morris, Mamba, X-Gamer, Son of Furber, 2/10 behind X-Gamer, getting very close to X-Gamer. So pretty much all of these guys are still in a second of each other, so very close so far for GP2.
And Odd Ivan, he's just having fun at the moment. Lap 3 of 33, and he is just so far ahead, and he continues to build on that gap. 1.8 seconds now. In just one lap, he has gained half a second over Langfell. That just shows how quick he is as a driver, and it's starting to look like Barcelona might just be his track. Yeah,
or Langfell is really struggling. Let's see if Tom does get Langfell, and see what Tom's pace is to Evine. Yeah, Langfell really, I don't know if he is struggling or these guys are just really close to pace. So Senna's lost it just before the turn 8, and is a virtual safety car. So he will not get the chance to overtake, and there's quite some guys coming into the pits already. We've got Son of Ferber, Mauser, and KXI all coming into the pits straight away with this. Oh, it is now a full safety car now. Safety car has just been called out, so I'm expecting all of these guys on a soft tyres to come in straight away, really, just to get off these soft tyres. Of course, they do not last around this circuit.
And the drivers that just pitted, they might just get a little bit of a benefit from the safety car coming out when it did, because now a lot of the drivers ahead are probably going to pit. You mentioned that the soft tires don't last very long around here, so I do expect most, if not all, of those drivers that you see in the top 9 running on the soft tires to make that pit stop now, since they don't really have a free pit stop, but they have a pit stop that theoretically has a little less stress to go along with it, because when you're making green flag pit stops, of course, you know, you are very concerned about not speeding in the pit lane and wondering how many positions you're going to lose. But under the safety car, even if you do lose position, you know that ultimately you're going to be bunched up with the rest of the field and you're going to have a chance to make some overtakes. So costly mistakes in the pit lane, as long as it's not speeding, may not weigh as heavily on your race as they would under green. But of course, if you speed, you're going to get a 5-second time penalty, and that's going to be added on to your race time at the end, and that will definitely come back to bite you. So you're going to have to be very careful. We have seen drivers' races just thrown out the window due to a costly mistake speeding on pit road.
Yep, so Bayern's in, Langfell's in, Tom's in, Morris is in, Mamba's in, X Gamer's in, Jonas is staying out on the soft tyres. Okay, interesting there from Jonas to stay out. Yeast Calvin's also in. Yeah, a lot of guys are in. Who's that just gone onto the hard tyres? That's Langfell going onto the hard tyres. So everyone on the soft tyres, except from Jonas, of course, came into the pits and changed their tyres, and Calvin's moved up to P2 with these guys pitting, of course, and then Jonas. I don't know what kind of strategy he's thinking now. Now everyone's stopped on the who was on the soft tyres, and he's now the only one on the soft tyres now. Just shows that you do not want to touch the soft tyres at all on the circuit. 3 guys on hards, and then everyone else on mediums.
Of course, I'm starting to wonder if maybe Jonas knows something that we don't. Apparently, he is confident in his soft tires, and I guess only time will tell if that strategy is going to pay off for him or not. And you got to think, if he got bonus points for leading laps, then I could see that as a strategic advantage. But this is not NASCAR in the early 2000s, so you do not get bonus points for leading any laps. So we're just going to have to hope for Jonas' sake that those soft tires have more life in them than what we feel they would.
Yep, so like you said, probably something Jonas knows that we don't. Couldn't be rain, because obviously we would have come in, I would believe, or maybe even stayed out if we were expecting rain in like 5 minutes or something. But yeah, by the looks of things, we're not expecting rain, because I think a lot of more guys would have stayed out with him. But yeah, interesting to see what Jonas will do. I'm guessing maybe he's trying to stretch it out to do a one stop to maybe a soft medium strategy. I don't know if it is possible around here, but if it is, then you know, fair play to Jonas to making that work at the end if he does do that.
At least the safety car laps don't add a lot of wear to those tires, so he's still got a little bit of life left in them. But nonetheless, I am very surprised that he is the only driver who has not yet made a pit stop, or from starting on the soft tires. Of course, Calvin and Crowhawk, they started on the medium tires, and Pim starting on the hard tires, so you see them with 5 laps underneath their belt. But that makes sense, because the medium tires and hard tires obviously are going to go a lot longer than the softs. But I always love the unorthodox strategies that we sometimes get, because sometimes they actually work, and you're always left scratching your head wondering how they made that work. But again, there's no really black and white answer of yes or no how you win a race, how you put a good strategy together, because a lot of it falls into the driver's hands. Maybe Jonas is just better on his tires, so he can make the soft tires last a little bit longer and get a little bit more advantage out of them. You mentioned earlier that you don't like to touch the hard tires, but obviously Pim, he loves the hard tires, and apparently Langfell does as well. So it's just a matter of differing driving styles.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, maybe Jonas maybe even taking a risk to change a different strategy to everyone else, because obviously if you change a different strategy to everyone else as well, it might, help you by pulling away even more, or you're just going to fall to P19 if it doesn't work, basically. But safety cars in this lap, so over to you, Tim.
So Jonas will be the control car. He gets to go whenever he wants to, as long as it's before the start-finish line. After that, it is fair game. We'll ride on board with Calvin Racing to see what kind of a start Jonas gets. Of course, Calvin, he's going to be looking to capitalize on any mistake that Alpine makes. And Mansell and I both are expecting those soft tires to wear out a little bit sooner than what maybe Jonas is hoping for. So maybe the commentators are wrong, maybe the driver is wrong. But we'll see just what happens here in a moment as to Jonas catches Calvin sleeping. Calvin has a little bit of a wheel spin, has to hang on to it. Oh, and he spins. He gets contact from the back of Crowhawk. Did his teammate just spin him out?
I don't think so. I think he just spun on his own. I was on board with Crowhawk and didn't seem any contact between the two. As now, because of that, Martin's trying to warm up his tyres. I thought there was a bit of overtake going on at front after that, but there isn't. But yeah, Calvin, cold tyres, spins. Yeah. Out, but as Langfeld gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flags, I'm guessing that is for overtaking Calvin when he spun. But again, that's not really his fault, so he should get that removed, hopefully. As Bossy Game is now out. Turn 3, he's lost it at turn 3.
And will this put us under another safety car? Or will we continue to race? So far, so good. No BSC, no safety car, so it looks like it's going to stay green, green, green all
the way. Right on the back of Martin here through turn 8. Martin's going to leave him in space, so Vine's going to try and go around. Oh my goodness,
and the car just went off. Was that Crowhawk? Yes, it was.
On. I don't think we'll get a safety car. They have to do at least one lap, I think, in this game. Rogue Smithy gets a 3-second time penalty. But what a move from Vine, by the way. He's gone right around the outside of Martin at turn 9 and moves himself up to P3. Next up for him is Pim. So Vine's on another level today so far.
Such Jonas, Pim, on Ivan, your top 3 at the moment with Martin and Langfeld, your top 5, Tom Goproff, Calvin Racing, Morris, Eric's Mamba, and X-Gamer. Your top 10 after 8 of 33 laps. Still that yellow flag in Sector 2 for Crowhawk, but it's now been cleared. No safety car this time around.
Side by it from X-Gamer and Mamba. X-Gamer, and also in front as well, Morris and Calvin. X-Gamer gets ahead of Mamba. Morris all on the back of Calvin. Lifts off a bit there, but might gain a bit going down to turn 4. Calvin, of course, on 7 lap on mediums. Morris on brand new mediums. Yeah, X-Gamer moves himself up to P9 ahead of Mamba. Sinner Furbar is also going to try and have a look at Mamba as well. He's actually going to make an overtake on Mamba and gets the move done, moves himself up to P10, but he spins! He has spun, he's done a Nikita Mazepin just where he's spinning, qualifying at Spain at this Grand Prix, and he's moved himself all the way down for P16 with that spin. He's touched the curb, too much curb, and unfortunately he has spun.
How do you remember where Nikita Mazepin spun?
I was watching Drive to Survive, and that's where it showed about where he spun at that corner. I watched Drive to Survive at the weekend, and it showed him where he spun.
Oh, fair enough, but we do certainly think for the McLaren there. And there was a little bit of contact between him and Mamba. Of course, I don't believe that contact led to that spin. It was just an unfortunate circumstance of a little bit more wheel spin than
more action. Got more action. Tom Goproff is trying to go around the outside of Langfeld, but Langfeld outbreaks him, and Langfeld keeps his P5 for now. Tom might have a look at getting him again. Tom's been stuck behind Langfeld for all of this race so far. I don't think he's enjoying this now, Tom. He's losing some time to Langfeld. So we'll once again try and get this move done as soon as possible. As Morris is going to do a Daniel Ricciardo and get the move done on Calvin. Good move there from Morris, moves up himself to P7.
That was a beautiful crossover move from the Haas driver. I saw that coming just as soon as Mamba got around him. Or, excuse me, not Mamba, Calvin. Not sure why I'm getting the cars mixed up there, but Tom Goproff in the McLaren now trying to give chase to Langfeld, and the Aston Martin had a little bit of advantage of the DRS there, but ultimately could not make the move on him. So Langfeld in P5, Tom Goproff in P6. So Jonas still leads, and he's leading by 3.3 seconds. So I think that answers our question that maybe staying out, at least for him, was the right call. The question is, when does he make his pit stop?
Yep, as we missed it as well, Artie Barnes got past Tim, so Barnes now up to P2 and now chasing down to Jonas, and we've got Sinner Furbar who's spun again. Definitely a race to forget for him now. He's in dead last now, especially after he's won the last 2 races. And now a race to forget as X-Gamer has now got past Calvin, or has he? No, they go side by side through turn 3. Calvin on the inside, and X-Gamer now gets the move done, or does he? Calvin has a little look at X-Gamer around the inside, but yeah, X-Gamer keeps that position.
So Tom Goproff starting to gain a little bit on Langfeld. Maybe those medium tires starting to come in, while Langfeld's going to have to wait a little bit longer for those hard tires to really come in. Of course, Langfeld does have a time penalty. Here's your update on the time penalties. 5 seconds for Langfeld, 3 seconds for Mauser, and 3 seconds for Rogue Smithy. Of course, the 5 seconds for Langfeld may get removed by the stewards after the race because that was due to ignoring yellow flags.
On some moves again. Goes on the inside of Tom. Tom gets the better exit, and Morris can get very good traction, and Tom keeps his P6 for now.
So Morris definitely not messing around, trying to get the best finish he possibly can around here. A driver who we were talking about last week, you mentioned that he feels like he's no longer a top contender, but that he's upper mid-pack. So he's fighting for points at this point, but not really going for the wins because it just doesn't feel he has it in him. But he seems to have some pace today. He might just have an opportunity to get up there if the cards fall in his favor. Yeah.
As Calvin's really struggling now. Now Mamba is on the attack at Calvin. He's got the inside line around turn 3. Calvin's had to back off a bit because obviously he's not on the racing line where Mamba pretty much is. It's still side by side and going through turn 4. Still side by side going through turn 4. And Mamba now gets the move done as Rogue Smithy has crashed out at the exit turn 3, and there's now another safety car.
So this gives Jonas an opportunity to pit without losing a terrible amount of positions. He's 3 seconds ahead. He's going to have to maintain that gap. So while that does give him a little bit of breathing room when he enters the pits, it ultimately is not going to be enough for him to retain the lead. I'd say that at this point he's going to be coming out about P6 or 7.
Yeah, good stint from Sir Jonas. He's on 10-lap-old mediums, and he hasn't really lost any time whatsoever. So I don't know where he's able to get this pace from on these soft tyres. But yeah, great pace there from Sir Jonas. Now he obviously comes into the pits. Maybe going on to the mediums to the end. Possibly, maybe to get to the end. I don't know. As the Ryan's also in. Let's see what Sir Jonas goes on to. Just go on to medium tyres. I can see medium tyres. Sure are. Medium tyres he goes on to.
So Jonas gets a fresh set of Dr. Feelgoods. Where will he rejoin this race as Pim now leads with Langfeld in second? So the two hard tire runners first and second with Morris in P3. To Jonas coming out about P6 there in the Alpine. Mauser just ahead of him in P5. So to Jonas is the driver who is the highest running on fresh tires. That will definitely play in his favor later on in the race. Pim and Langfeld, we know for sure, are going to have to pit. That is or Pim anyway will have to pit. I think Langfeld might be able to stretch those hard tires to the end. Granted, that will be a big task from them, but it should be possible.
Yeah, hard tires, they should definitely do the whole race. Mediums, of course, probably half the race, and then softs 4 laps. So yeah, Langfeld should get to the end of these. If there's not, of course, any safety cars at the end, then most likely going to pit again. Yeah, Langfeld not having a great race. He's been defending a lot of the time so far in this Grand Prix, but of course he's on the hard tyres, so we're expecting more defending after this safety car restart. Same with Pim. I think Langfeld will be getting help from Pim with obviously the DRS as well. So yeah, let's see how these two can cope on the hard tyres. Of course, Pim needs to come into the pits to change tyres. He hasn't done that yet, whereas Langfeld doesn't need to. So as soon as Pim comes into the pits to change tyres, and if Langfeld stays out, Langfeld might be where he's starting to struggle, because obviously he won't get the DRS assistance from Pim.
So we were talking about Morris and how he might have an opportunity to get up there.
Oh, sorry, Tim, but you suspended the safety car. And that is down to P14, and he's left the session as well.
So Yeast having some communication issues with his car. Of course, we noticed that in qualifying, and now Calvin's getting a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags, as well as another driver, I do believe, got a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So, unfortunately, more issues there with the algorithm that we unfortunately cannot fix. Yeast has finally got back into his car, though, so at least a little bit of a silver lining on what is an unfortunate day for quite a few other drivers.
Yeah, so far a good day for Haas. 3rd and 5th, especially when they're running, I think it's P9 or P8 in the constructors. Obviously now I'm out of the team. They're definitely on a better form. But yeah, good day so far for.
So it looks like Mamba and Morris are trading positions now. Maybe there's going to be another set of time penalties given out for obviously no reason, but again, we cannot do anything about that, sadly. I'm sure that Pim would rather the safety car pull in so he can just go ahead and start pulling away.
Yeah,
or maybe pulling away.
Should be in this lap.
And there is the time penalties. And waiting for Mamba to get one as well. Maybe he won't. Safety car will be in this lap, though, so you are correct. And Pim will be the control car. We'll ride on board with Langfell and see what Pim's able to do. Now, last time on the safety car restart, we saw how Calvin was caught sleeping, and as a result, he spun, had a little bit more wheel spin. He is now in P11. Let's see if Langfell has a little bit of better time on this restart.
Yep, so see if Langfell can keep the Pim as well. Pim goes really wide on the chicane, gets to throttle as he can. As Langfell nearly loses it, just like Calvin did, but he keeps it this time. As Mouse is having a look at Mamba. Mamba's up to P4. Mamba not getting a great restart as Langfell's still trying to warm up his tyres, weaving on the straight.
And now we have a battle for P2. Morris trying to get around Langfell here. Will he be able to do it, though? Riding on board with the Haas driver, and he is close, but no DRS at the moment. Of course, this is not even a DRS zone, but I'd say that Morris wishes that the DRS was already active because he would be having an opportunity to overtake the Aston Martin coming up here in just a few corners, if so, but he's going to have to do it on raw pace or wait 3 laps and hope he's able to stay close to him. Of course, 6 laps on those hard tires for Langfell, 6 laps on those medium tires for Morris. Those medium tires should be coming in fairly soon, so that will give him an advantage, but those hard tires are going to be coming in for Langfell a little bit later on. So while Morris gets around Langfell, he'll then have to go on the defensive and keep him behind because those hard tires will come to life sooner rather than later. But Morris gaining a little bit on Langfell down that straightaway, so we might have an opportunity for him to get around. And meanwhile, there's some jostling around for position around the 10th place as X-Gamer goes down to P10 now, trying to get back around Tom GoProf for P9. It's a tight battle between these two drivers, and just behind them, you got Calvin Racing trying to take advantage. Maybe a little bit of contact through the chicane with Tom GoProf getting in the back of X-Gamer. Just a tiny little love tap, though. No harm, no foul, as Eric Cheese is fighting hard with the Aston Martin of TNR Frederick. Side by side down the pit straightaway. Frederick is on the inside. He's got the preferred line, but will Yeast be able to use that momentum to his advantage to get out of the corner? Yes, he does. It turns into the inside line, and wow, look at the Aston Martin. Goes off a little bit. Now he has to fight with Trengame Wow. Trengame Wow, who we really thought would be in a better position at this point of the race due to his fast lap on the medium tire, finds himself fighting for P14, just scrapping with TNR Frederick and Son of Fubar.
Yeah, not great so far from Trengame Wow, but he's on the hard tyres, so he can easily go to the end, whereas if these guys on the medium tires go to the end, they will struggle at the end, as X-Gamer is also trying to get past Martin if he can through turn 8. Is DRS enabled now? Not yet. It will be enabled next lap, but X-Gamer might not need DRS. He goes down the inside to turn 9 and should get the move done. Yes, moving up to P8. Good move there from X-Gamer.
So we'll rejoin the battle for the lead because Langfell is 0.6 of a second behind Pim, and Morris is still right on the gearbox of Langfell, and even Morris has some pressure out the back. It's pretty much a train of cars, and it's about to turn into a DRS train because guess what? The DRS is enabled right now, but we don't have it down the pit straight away. We will have it down the next DRS zone and for subsequent zones as long as there's no more safety cars. Of course, keyword there being no more safety cars, and look at how much Morris gained in turn number 1 on Langfell. So Morris is really going to be looking to make the overtake. I'd say this lap, he is so close to him.
Yeah, Langfell's also picked up his pace as well, up to Pim, as also he missed it as well to Jonas, and moved up to himself up to P5, getting himself past Mamba on that main start pretty straight. So I'd have bind one of the favourites to win the race, of course, today is in P7, right at the back of this train at the moment.
So it's turning into a 3-car battle for the lead between Pim, Langfell, and Morris. You looking out the back of Morris's car right now, and there you see the DRS active The wing is wide open, but going into that corner, just not able to make a move that time. So Langfell, he will hold on to second place, at least for now, but I suspect that Morris might get a nice run on him going into turn number 1. So we'll be looking for an overtake here as we'll ride on board with the Haas driver and see what kind of exit he gets in comparison to Langfell out of the final corner. A very magnificent chicane.
Yeah, great exit there from Morris is going to be giving him a golden opportunity, maybe even get a double overtake, because Pim's not going to get the DRS, so he should have his DRS. Langfell's going to have a look at Pim as well. Morris might even have a look at both of these, or he might just get Pim. Is he going to get Pim? Yes, he's going to get Pim. Pim goes off the track, so Pim moves down to P3 because of course he didn't get the DRS, but it will help Morris a lot now because Langfell will not get the DRS next time around. And Mouse is now going to have a look at Pim, but he backs out of it for now. So yeah, good showing so far from the Haas drivers. Second and fourth at the moment at this stage. Turn that down to fifth because Jonas is going to make a dive bomb at Mauser at turn 5, and Jonas moves himself into P4, the championship leader, and might be pulling away at the end of this race.
Jonas really moving to the field quickly here on those fresh medium tires. I knew that they would be an advantage for him, but I wasn't sure.
There comes Morris up round the outside of Langfell and is he going to get the move done? Yes, he is. Good move there from Morris. Morris moves up himself to the lead of the race for the first time this season, I do believe.
And that was an insanely close move. He almost took out Langfell's front wing, but it was just close enough to where Moritz was able to capitalize on Langfell and get around him. So now Langfell trying to go back on the offensive and get around Morris down this front straightaway, and he will have the DRS. I suspect that Morris is going to lose this lead, but there is a DRS train behind him. Chugga chugga choo choo, as he's about to get freight trained by these guys ahead of him.
Yeah. Look at that, the difference, because he didn't get the DRS, he made contact with Pim, and now Jonas is there as well. All of that because if he didn't get that DRS on that start-finish straight, he's now nearly lost 3 positions, maybe to Jonas as well. He's trying to keep this position with the Jonas because he knows that this is probably for the race lead between these two guys. Still side by side going through to turn 5, so Jonas is just going to finally get past Morris. Is not what Morris wants, and now he's got Oddivine right behind him. Of course, Oddivine, who's shown great pace at the start of this race, and still at a great pace at the moment. So he might be struggling again. He's going to struggle. He didn't get a very good exit at turn 8. Oddivine's going to have a look around the outside at turn 8. Morris defends well to keep that P4 position for now.
So a good battle here for P4, but unfortunate for Morris. You got to think that he had a whiff of the lead. He had a whiff of victory, and now he sees it just fading away. This race is far from over, but you got to think losing 3 positions in 1 lap has definitely got to hurt him. And he's probably scratching his head, wondering where is this speed from these other drivers coming from, especially from drivers like Langfell and Pim, who are on old hard tires. Pim himself has 18 laps on those hard tires, Langfell with 13 laps. And Pim's still going to have to make a pit stop. So when that's going to come, I'm not sure. Langfell, of course, we know, can go to the end of this race. And with that time penalty likely being removed by the stewards afterwards, may even have a win coming his way. But he's going to have to look for our our points leader up to Jonas there in third, who is giving Pim one heck of a time and pretty much being like, I don't know, pretty much a pain in the rear end on Pim's Williams car there. So Jonas just not going to be taking no for an answer here. 0.3 of a second behind him and should be able to overtake him as he gets a fantastic exit out of that set of corners while Pim was pretty much setting still. DRS is going to assist the Alpine, but maybe the short straightaway will assist the Williams, but not before Jonas gets underneath of Pim. It's a side-by-side battle. Neither wants to give, but one of them ultimately has to, and that is the Williams move to Jonas up into the second position. Pim back to third, and who was that? Langfell is fun!
Oh, that's unfortunate there for Langfell. He's down up, he's going to fall in positions, he's going to fall down right at the back of this pack and down to P14. Not a good day for Langfell now. But here comes Morris now on Pim. DRS assistance. Pim also has the DRS as well, but Morris might get the overtake done on the inside. Yes, gets the move done. So he should, now he's got to Jonas ahead of him, of course, to Jonas on the medium tyres now. Doesn't really need to stop again if he doesn't want to, so I think Jonas will now be starting to pull away. Of course, Morris on older medium tyres compared to Jonas. But yeah, very unfortunate there from Langfeld. He was down to P14 without spin.
Oh my goodness, and Pim is spun! Pim is spun, and another car hit him! Who was it? Was it Mamba, who definitely has wing damage if it were? And I think it was Mamba in the Red Bull. There is no front wing, so safety car is now out, and unfortunately Pim, he was holding out for a safety car. No, it wasn't Mamba. Mamba does not have any damage. Who hit Pim? There was a driver that hit Pim. I'm not sure who it was.
I see it might be Oddivine because he's got no front wing.
You're correct on that, Mansell. Odd Ivan, he must have been the one that hit Pim. And Pim just spun on his own, and usually the car will ghost. As you've seen, the car will ghost to avoid contacts like that, but it does take a minute for that to actually kick in. So Odd Ivan just unfortunately hit him before the car ghosted, and there was nothing that Odd Ivan could do. It happened so fast, he had no time to react. It was just a small mistake from him, and it's kind of ironic because you got to think that the Williams driver was holding out for a safety car, staying out that long on the hard compound tires, waiting to pit for the softs, and he gets the safety car, but he was ultimately the cause of the safety car.
Well, it might have been Senna Furbar because in a separate incident, while them two were colliding with each other, there was a separate incident involving Senna Furbar, who is actually out of this race as well. But yeah, two separate incidents at the exact same time. So Senna Furbar, who has won the last two races, is now out of the Grand Prix.
So definitely will not be going 3 in a row today for Senna Furbar. His teammate, Tom Goprop, he might have a chance though. Running in P7, fresh medium tires, the second highest running driver on fresh tires. Eric's Mamba in P5, of course, with a fresh set of Dr. Killgood. So we'll keep an eye on those two drivers. We've seen what the fresh tires did for to Jonas.
Morris is 5 seconds. That has now, of course, disappeared. Now he has stopped. He's dropped behind his teammate now of Mauser. Mauser's also stopped as well with the hard tyres 2 laps earlier, so he'll definitely be going to the end. And the only driver to be on the hard tyres, everyone else is on medium tyres.
So this is shaping up to be quite a decent 10-lap shootout to the finish, assuming we go that green here in the handful of laps that we got. Of course, waiting for every driver to get back to the safety car queue. The final one is Langfeld, who just 5 laps ago was leading this race and now is pretty much running in dead last, save for the drivers who have DNF'd out of the race, unfortunately for them. But Langfeld, at least he's got a chance to make up some positions. He's going to have to find himself in P10 to get any points out of today. But we know he's at least fast, and on those fresh medium tires, he's now got that time penalty removed, so he doesn't have to worry about that hanging over his head. The only thing he's got to worry about now is passing the cars ahead of him.
Yeah. So, to Jonas, will be pulling away easily in the championship. 25 points at this stage from Train Gamewell. That will be the difference if it finishes at this stage between Train Gamewell and to Jonas. Obviously, they're both on the same level of points at this stage. Train Gamewell not having a great race, running pretty much at the back this whole race. So he's not having a brilliant race. I'm guessing Spain is not his strongest track, probably one of his weakest track by looking at his pace today. But yeah, just seeing what I'm guessing Trey Gamewell was trying to score minimum points today, and yeah, see if Trey Gamewell can actually get into the points by the end of this race.
And it's a 21 race schedule, so there's still plenty of time for him to make up.
Obviously, it's still a long season ahead. There's still another 16 races to go. So yeah, still a lot of races to go. I'm guessing for him, he just wants to score as minimum points. Of course, it might make all the difference by the end of the season. The safe guys in this lap.
Now, Mansell, you just asked me to do math. Didn't last week teach you anything? Math uses all my brain power.
Ah, yes, it does. Yeah, do not use it. Do not use it.
Why do math when you can use a calculator? And in fact, before we go back green, I just want to point out to any of my math teachers that might be watching but probably aren't, that you said I wouldn't have a calculator everywhere I go. I do on my phone, thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you do.
And
yeah,
now back to the race.
I've heard that quote before.
And now we'll go back to the races. Jonas gets a good start over X Gamer. Does X Gamer make the same mistake that so many has made before him? No, he has learned from them.
He didn't get a very good restart compared to Frederick. Frederick was right at the back, but he had to kind of back up, and of course they were still under the yellow flag, so he couldn't really overtake X Gamer. But now there's people in the background overtaking each other. I think that's Tom GoPro getting ahead of KXI maybe, or keeping that position for now. Calvin getting past that Mamba for P4. Of course, Calvin and Mouse is the only one with penalties at this stage. Top 4, 10 lap on mediums, and pretty much the rest of the field on fresh tyres.
So on board with Mamba, gaining on Calvin a little bit on the entry to the corner. Let's see which driver gets the better exit. Really looks to be about even, but it looks like Pim and Yeast are having a little bit of swapping around for position there. Some contact maybe from Yeast onto the Williams of Pim. Yeast just trying to push him into the corner. There's contact, and Yeast goes off the track. Just a little bit, avoids some wing damage, I'm pretty sure, but loses a ton of positions. He's all the way back to P15. Langfeld goes around him now. So Yeast from P10 to P15 just like that. That's how quick a mistake can send you to the back. Pim just trying to, recover from that unfortunate spin that brought out the safety car and try to get whatever points that he can just ahead of them. Morris having a nice battle between KXI and himself. So Morris and Mouse are the two Haas drivers running 8th and 9th, almost nose to tail. And then the AlphaTauri drivers, KXI in 7th, on Ivan in 13th, respectively, all the way back there. So both Haas and AlphaTauri have shown some strength today. But I think that, Haas have really kind of stepped it up. Morris, of course, we saw him leading there for a while. Of course, he did have to pit under the safety car, so he's kind of in catch-up mode. But I don't want to, discredit his performance at all, because he made a fantastic
side by side between Pin and Mauser for a second. Pin now gets past Mauser. Of course, Mauser on hard tyres. But yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I think Morris has definitely taken a different approach today. Of course, he's normally a normal, a friendly driver, let's say. Lets people gets past. He's not that normally this aggressive, but today he's totally different today, because obviously he's so much more aggressive to these drivers, trying to get these overtakes done. And I'm liking this new approach from Morris. I think it's definitely working well for him so far, as he's now going to try and have a look at KXI. KXI leaves him the space, which he goes wide, and now they're going to go side by side up to the hill. KXI keeps that position for now, but I'm liking this little approach so far from Morris.
And just ahead of them, we got a 3-car battle for the 4th position between Calvin, Eric Mamba, and Tom GoPro. Riding on board with that McLaren, he's losing a little bit of ground to them out of the final corner, but Mamba is gaining ground on Calvin, as there you see he's right there at him. If only he had DRS this time, we might be seeing an overtake. Calvin trying to break that slipstream, but Mamba is sticking very close to that Mercedes, down to a 10th of a second, separating those two drivers for a moment, as Morris now going around KXI into turn number 1, and out of turn number 2 is able to clear him. So move Morris up into the 7th position as Mamba is trying to get into P4.
Yeah, good move there from Morris. They're very close to him at the final corner, and now gets himself into P7, and now he can try and catch up to this battle in front of him, which of course is involving Mamba and Calvin. Mamba's going to have a look down at turn 7, and Calvin keeps that position for now. Good defending the outside line, really. I think DRS is now enabled. Yes, it is. DRS is now wide open, of course, from Mamba. Yeah, not really making any gains through that little DRS straight. But of course, main opportunity going down towards 1. So let's see if he can get close enough to Calvin to maybe get the move done for P4.
So remember, Calvin, he told us this was his first race where he has turned ABS and traction control off. And we saw that he struggled in qualifying, but he is running very well in this race. He's got a time penalty, and right now he's losing a position to Mamba, but still in P5. Tom GoPro might have a look as Mamba goes around. So Mamba in P4, Calvin back to P5, Tom GoPro trying to get around the Mercedes driver as well, and might just be able to do it as Calvin goes a little bit wide there, but Calvin fighting back hard, but ultimately cannot keep that McLaren behind him. The McLaren will clear him, so move Tom GoPro up into 5th. Calvin back to 6th place now, with Morris really hot on his heels. It's a 4-car battle essentially that we got going on for P4, but it's starting to spread out just a little bit. Lap 26 of 33. We're getting very close to the end. To Jonas, X-Gamer, and Frederick, your top 3, and Morris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so that is going to hurt him at the end of this race, but he's at least sort of on par with Calvin. There's an update on your time penalties: 3 seconds for Frederick, 8 seconds for Calvin, so he's not on par. Calvin's going to be dropping a lot.
Morris trying to make moves again, down to turn 9. I think he's definitely scaring a lot of these guys when he tries to go down the inside of these guys, because these guys are actually leaving the space for Morris to go down the inside. Yeah, now Morris will get the DRS on Calvin. Calvin, of course, is buzzing that hold. Maybe Morris on 4 laps. Calvin will, of course, still get that DRS. He was under a second of Tom at the DRS detections at the point. So I don't think he'll be making any moves. No, he won't, of course. Looking further ahead, Mambas are gaining on Frederick for that P4. Frederick, of course, with a penalty, 3 seconds, of course. And right at the back of the field, massive battle going on between the Yeast, Oddivine, Langfeld, and Mauser for this P12 position. Yeast has spun involved in this battle, but I just got caught up at the very end of this little battle. It was going 3 wide at turn 4 there. But Mauser is P12 at the moment, ahead of them 2 guys.
So Langfeld just trying to recover as much as he possibly can on the back of Mauser here, who's got a 6-second time penalty. So Langfeld knows he's going to be able to inherit that position. But, KXI picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's running in P10, so that might actually get Langfeld a few points here. Of course, Martin running in P11, about to go around the P10 of KXI there.
Calvin in the pits.
And as Calvin makes his pit stop, that's going to give these drivers yet another position. So Martin should be in P10 and Mauser in P11 now.
As Mamba's now moved up to P3, getting past Frederick. Tom
Langfeld making a move around Mauser. Mauser just lost 2 positions in 1 straightaway because of no DRS. Odd Ivan goes around him as well. So Langfeld and Odd Ivan now running pretty much nose to tail through the uphill section here, trying to just increase their running position. KXI in P10, but that 3-second time penalty, it's going to come back to bite him at the end. Martin has found a way into P9, so he is safe in a nice points-paying position, while his teammate still leads over X-Gamer and Eric's Mamba.
And then looking at the battle for P4 between Frederick and Tom. Tom is definitely very close to Frederick. We've got yellow flag sector 2. That is for Pim. Pim has done also in the Nikita Mazepin. But he gets going again. As Morris is catching up to this battle as well. So Morris having a very strong race. Just unfortunately picks up for 3 seconds. Otherwise he could have maybe got a podium today.
So lap 29.
Frederick still gets a DRS. Mamba gets the fastest lap of the race so far. I don't think it'll be enough for him to catch up to X-Gamer and to Jonas. About 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix.
Lap 29 up 33. Calvin raising another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's just a bad day going worse for him as Tom Goproff trying to chase down Frederick. Frederick a little squirrely there through turns 3 and 4, but somehow, some way trying to stay ahead of the McLaren and doing a good job at it at the moment. But Tom Goproff has gained significantly. Of course, Morris back there in the 6th position, and Tom Goproff having a little bit of a look-see on the outside of Frederick, but no room to really make a move. Just trying to stick close. He might have an opportunity down this next DRS straight, but it's such a short straightaway that it's so hard to really make the move here. But let's see if Tom Goproff is going to be able to do it. He gets a better exit than the Aston Martin, and the Aston Martin has no DRS. Actually, the Aston Martin does have the DRS, but Tom Goproff, he looks on the inside, can't make the move, but Frederick still gives him plenty of room there. But Tom Goproff, he had to give Frederick plenty of room too. So ultimately, no change in position this time around, but Tom Goproff's going to have another shot at it down the front straightaway. Meanwhile, it's going to be lap 30 this time. To Jonas still leads 1.3 seconds ahead of X-Gamer. Mamba in P3, no battles going on up ahead. This is the battle that we're looking at now. But for the 4th position, Frederick about to lose it to Tom Goproff as he goes around him, and we might have
He's going to miss 2 moves, yes. Frederick has moved down to P6 because, of course, like you said, DRS. If you don't have that DRS, you're going to suffer a lot. And Frederick has suffered with getting overtaken by 2 cars on the same straight. on the same lap as well.
And this is one of the more punishing tracks for a driver that doesn't have DRS. Of course, Baku being a very bad one as well, with as long of a straightaway that is. So, and the thing with DRS is you're at the mercy of the car in front of you and yourself. You have to be within a second of the car in front of you to get the DRS. Otherwise, you're pretty much just out of luck down the straightaway. And that's what we saw with Frederick that time. He lost 2 positions in 1, and that's not the first time that we have seen that happen in the race today. Of course, Tom Goproff, he is sitting very pretty and getting close to Mamba now. So Tom Goproff might be on for a podium here.
As Pim has retired in the pits, so that's his race over and done with. Tom will be in DRS of Mamba, as these guys' tyres will be starting to suffer now. Mamba not really gaining time on the top 2 of X-Gamer and to Jonas. To see if Tom might be coming at Mamba. He is definitely attacking. He's going to try and go around the outside of Mamba. Will he get the move done? They're side by side through turn 1, but Mamba keeps that P3 position at the moment. Tom might get an opportunity to go down to turn 4 possibly. No, leaves it for now.
So this is really just a waiting game between Mamba and Tom Goproff. These cars are so close together that Mamba is almost inevitably going to be losing that 3rd place position once they get to the pit straightaway. That DRS, of course, we have seen it bite so many drivers in the rear today, and I think that Mamba's about to be its next victim. Morris, though, he has been very smart. He has played a very smart race so far. He has just stayed with drivers. He's stayed in the DRS zone, and it is...
He's going to make a move. He's making a move on Tom. Tom's going to have to be going wide to give him the space, but yeah, Tom keeps that P4 position for now. Morris does seem very strong at turn 9. As he nearly loses it, somehow saves it, and keeps the position, keeps P5 for now as well. But yeah, with Morris attacking Tom, it's going to help Mamba to pull away from Tom, of course. So Mamba survives another lap, and next lap will be the final lap and their final opportunity to get that podium for Tom and Morris. Morris caused him a 3-second penalty, so he'll be dropping down if the 2 guys in front of him do not get penalties as well.
And if Mamba is able to get a podium, I think that he owes Morris a beer after that, because Morris really killed Tom's momentum that time around. Now, Tom, he's still got a couple more opportunities, as you said. It's coming up on the last lap. Tom's going to have one more opportunity down the DRS pit straight to get around Mamba. And, of course, there's another DRS straight coming up here in just a couple of corners. So the race is not over. Mamba has not got that podium yet. But Tom Goproff is definitely faster than that Red Bull. It's just a matter of how much time they have got.
Oh, as Aldevine gets a 3-second penalty in P9. Don't know what's really happened to Aldevine. He was having a really strong race at the start of the race. Now he's kind of dropped out of the lead now. Stuck behind Langfeld in P8.
So Jonas is about to cross the line and start the final lap. He's on the pit straightaway now. As you can see on the map, X-Gamer getting a little bit closer to him, but still only 1.6 seconds behind, so there's going to be no challenge for the lead as long as Jonas doesn't make any mistakes.
This is Tom's final chance now to maybe get that podium. Mamba's red light is flashing, of course. He's going to try and go around the outside of Mamba. Well, Mamba's done the same defending once again, like the previous lap, and Mamba keeping that P3 position for now. Really, Tom's only opportunity now is going down to turn 9, where the other DRS zone is, of course, is a very short one, so that might have been his final opportunity to see the podium of Mamba.
And Tom's problem is that he's very strong down the front straightaway, and he might even have some strength down the straightaway heading into turn 9, but the remainder of the first sector and the beginning of the second sector here, as you see, it's just not really Tom's strong point. You can see that Mamba is getting better exits out of these corners than Tom Goproff is, and that could be a deciding factor.
Tom is closer. Tom is a lot closer than he was before going down to turn 9. He's going to try and have a look down around the outside and maybe get the over and under on him, but it's just not going to work, and Mamba should keep this P3 position.
Meanwhile, Jonas, he's got just 2 more corners to go. Jonas, he has ran a great race all day. He is the points leader, and he's going to extend that points lead by winning the Spanish Grand Prix. X-Gamer, another good result in P2. Eric's Mamba will hold on to the podium position, but only just as Tom Goproff gets 4th. And Morris will finish in the 5th position with Frederick in 6th. And 7th is Train Game Wow. Not a bad points day for the Alfa Romeo driver, who was tied for the lead going into today. Mom was wondering if maybe Tom Goproff might have just jumped Train Game Wow in the point standings. Of course, those results will come out later in the week, but it's DeJonas, X-Gamer, and Mamba, your top 3, and those are the ones that we're going to be talking to after the race.
Yeah, so driver of the day, I'm going to say SFR Morris, just because he took a total different approach than he normally does, and he's actually given us a great showing today, of course making a lot of overtakes and defending, and yeah, I think Morris has definitely had a good race for himself today, so I'm going to say Morris.
And I'm definitely going to have to go with Morris as well, just because I saw how smart he was able to make some of those moves stick. He kept with the DRS, and he really just played off of other drivers' disadvantages and another driver's advantage. He would get right behind somebody, get himself locked in the DRS train, and then when one driver made a move on somebody, he would just follow them through. And he just played it smart all day long. So Morris, definitely a well-earned driver of the day and a well-earned, decent finishing position. And here is your official finishing results for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Spanish Grand Prix. TNR DeJonas in 1st, X-Gamer in 2nd, Mamba in 3rd, Tom Goproff in 4th, Morris in 5th, Frederick in 6th, Train Game Wow in 7th, Odd Ivan in 8th, 9th is Langfeld Martin in 10th, KXI in 11th, 12th is Mauser, Calvin Racing in 13th, 14th is Yeast Pim in 15th, Son of Fubar in 16th, Rogue Smithy in 17th, 18th is Crowhawk, 19th is Bossy Gaming, and Cinna Martins in the 20th position. We will talk to our top 3 drivers if they decide they want an interview of DeJonas, X-Gamer, and Mamba here in just a few moments' time. But Mansell, I've got to say that was definitely top 3, one of the best races we have seen this season.
Oh yeah, the whole field was so close to each other today. Yeah, probably one of the closest races we've watched so far this season. But yeah, I've got to agree with you. Out of the 6 races we've seen, it's definitely going to be in the top 3 this season of races.
So just waiting for our top 3 drivers to join and talk to us here. Of course, I'm sure that Jonas is going to be elated due to the fact that he has, in fact, extended his points lead. Remember, he was tied with Train Game Wow going into today with 66 points apiece. Obviously, that is going to change into Jonas's favor, and Train Game Wow might have even lost the 2nd position to Tom Goproff. Of course, I can't do the math off the top of my head at the moment, but nonetheless, it's a close battle between the top 3.
Yeah, so next week we'll be back, of course, for GP2. Belgium, Spa, corners, curbs. Oh, the curbs around Belgium. You do not want to touch them. Yeah, just don't want to touch them. If you touch them, that's it. You'll be spinning around. Just like Nikita Mazepin. As X-Gamer tells me that he's not joining for the post-interview. Apparently he's got no voice.
Oh my goodness.
So X-Gamer not joining us.
Well, hopefully X-Gamer will feel better in the future. I understand that, a few of us may have a little bit of illnesses here and there going around. So, we, of course, wish everyone the best there. Just waiting to see if DeJonas and Mamba are going to join. Of course, if not, and speak of the devil, there is Mamba. But if DeJonas doesn't join, we will just speak with Mamba. We'll give him just a quick minute to get in here and get situated. And Mamba, can you hear us? As DeJonas joins now. So we will start our interviews now, but first things first, guys, please make sure you've allowed your voices to be shared. If you don't know how to do that, go over to the party settings, click Always Allow, and let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Same here.
All right, so we will talk to Jonas, our winner. So going into the race today, you were tied with Train Game Wow for points. That has obviously been increased in your favor. How are you feeling about your championship chances after today?
Well, I haven't really seen I haven't really been watching the championship table. So, but yeah, if we were tied on points, then I'm sure it's a good thing. And yeah, I'm purely here just for enjoying myself out on the racetrack and not really thinking about the championship. So yeah, it was a fun one today. So really happy about it.
You seem to have a fast car, and you were able to slice through the pack a lot more efficiently than most drivers. What do you think was really the key to that?
I think my experience comes into that. I know when to go for a gap, and I know when to hold up and wait for a better chance. Um, and I really just waited for the right opportunities today, and didn't really try anything heroic. Just waited for the car in front to have a bad exit or make a mistake, something along those lines. So and just using my ERS when the car in front had the problems.
Well, he knows when to hold him and he knows when to fold him. To Jonas, congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
Now we'll talk to our third place finisher of Mamba. Mamba, you had the time of your life, I bet, racing with Morris and Tom Goproff, and it got a little dicey there, and honestly, I think you might owe Morris a beer because he made a challenge into turn 9 on Tom Goproff, which might have allowed you to pull away from Tom Goproff.
Yeah. If he asks for a beer, I'll buy him one next time. Probably owe him one. But it was a good race. Tom was pushing me to the absolute limit. Didn't have any straight line speed. I think I was running 11 wings, which was a mistake looking back. But I'm happy with the result.
So this is not only your first podium on the season, but this is Red Bull's first podium on the season. I know that you and your teammate have both struggled, but do you think that maybe this is a sign of things maybe looking up for you?
I certainly hope so. Yeast has had some bad luck recently with internet. Nothing he can do. But yeah, I really hope that we can both pick up our form and start getting some more podiums.
Well, congratulations on your top 3 today, Mamba. It was certainly entertaining to watch.
Thank you.
And I just remembered we need to answer our trivia question, Mansell. So for those of you those of you who weren't sure what it was or what the question was in general, the question was, who won the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, the race where Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton infamously crashed each other out of the race? And Mad G got it right once again. It was Max Verstappen.
Yep, Max Verstappen, of course, 2016. It was actually his first ever race for Red Bull as well, and the youngest ever race winner that won that race. So, yeah.
Max Verstappen just always etching his name in the Formula One history books. But Mansell, what did you think of the race today? Give us your raw thoughts, because like I said, I believe it is definitely top 3 of the races that we have seen so far this season.
Yeah, it was definitely like you said, it definitely was a top 3 race of this season. Of course, all these drivers were very close to each other, probably the closest, or not the very closest race we've seen all these drivers close together pretty much for the whole race. Literally overtaking left, right, and centre. Very enjoyable to watch. Something to actually talk about the whole time. So yeah. Very eventful to watch. Enjoyed it today. Commentating with you, Tim, of course. Yeah, let's see what Belgium brings next week.
And with that, that's all the time that we have. But congratulations to our podium finishers. Thank you to all the drivers that have raced with us, and thank you to everyone that watched. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have fun, and goodbye.